So just another very short update, I'm afraid. The GTM did pass its MOT. I did get around to doing a little pre-MOT inspection, just making sure that lights and stuff were working, and discovered that one of the driving lights wasn't, and when I started investigating it fell to bits. Now, the lights and indicators used to be cheap Ford parts, but they're not cheap anymore because they're Sierra Cosworth. Now fortunately, driving lights are not required, but if they're fitted they have to be working, so I made up some blanking plates and solved that problem. But I also discovered that the handbrake wasn't working, and I don't know if I'll be able to show, but yes, that piece of plasma cut or maybe laser cut steel is part of a fabricated handbrake mechanism, which is how they gave what are effectively front brakes on both ends. They implemented a handbrake mechanism. It's not the best thing in the world. It hadn't really been assembled properly, and I had to modify the handbrake cable to get it to all function. It was all done in a bit of a hurry, but apparently the handbrake actually performed quite well. So yeah, that went through with just one advisory on a boot on a ball joint between the upper suspension link and the actual suspension unit, and they just have a habit of every time you let the suspension droop fully when it's on a lift, it can pop off, and it had done so, but just an advisory. So all legal for another year. As far as the Esprit is concerned, I've got my dummy gearbox all set up and bolted to the engine. Again, it's one of those things that's really difficult to get a camera in and show you, but I through the hole in the bell housing with the light shining in, I could check that the input shaft was reaching the pilot bearing in the back of the crank. I'm going to fit a new pilot bearing with a spacer in front of it, so it will sit more rearward than the current one is, and then that's plenty of support for the clutch shaft or input shaft, depending on what terminology you want to use, seeing as this is either described as an input shaft or a primary shaft. Anyway, this is all ready to be trial fitted into the car to check clearances for things like the oil filter and heat exchanger, and these really awful engine mounts are going to get remade, and I need to check the clearance on the sump, which I'm pretty sure is actually all fine. What I tend to like to do on something like this is lift with the crane and then roll the car underneath. I don't like moving engine cranes with weight hanging from them if it can be avoided.